Have you ever stood up from a chair and heard your knees creak like old wood? Have you ever climbed just 3 steps on a staircase and felt fear grip your chest, afraid that your legs might give way? Have you ever woken in the middle of the night with a dull ache in your joints, unable to find comfort, robbed of the very rest your body begs for? Now picture this. What if I told you the true cause of this suffering is not only age? And what if the relief you have been searching for could be found not in expensive pills or endless injections, but in something so simple that it may already be waiting quietly in your kitchen? This is not magic. It is not a miracle cure. It is a truth backed by science, confirmed by some of the most respected names in medicine, and experienced by ordinary people who dared to make one small change in their daily routine. And today I want to take you by the hand and show you this truth. But first, we need to understand why so many of us find ourselves trapped in this cycle of pain and limitation as the years pass. When you reach the age of 50 or 60, life begins to whisper changes into your body. At first they are small, a stiffness when you wake, a little more effort to carry groceries, a heavier breath after a short walk. But with time, those whispers grow louder, muscles weaken, joints tighten, and every step feels like carrying a hidden burden. Scientists call this process sarcopenia, the natural decline of muscle mass and function with age. According to the World Health Organization, after the age of 50, adults can lose up to 8% of muscle mass every decade if no action is taken. It is not just about strength, it is about independence. When muscles weaken, balance falters. Falls become more likely. And behind every fall lies the risk of losing freedom, dignity, and sometimes even life itself. Dr. Maria Fiatarone Singh of Harvard Medical School, one of the pioneers in geriatric research, once said that muscle is the currency of longevity. Without it, every other aspect of health begins to collapse. But here is something the medical textbooks do not always tell you. This decline is not written in stone. Muscles and joints, even in later years, still carry a remarkable ability to repair, to adapt, to grow stronger again. What they need is the right fuel, the right signals, and the right habits repeated day after day. And this is where our daily choices make all the difference. Because hidden inside ordinary foods are compounds powerful enough to calm inflammation, restore circulation, and rebuild the foundation of muscle and joint health. Choices so simple that anyone can make them, yet so overlooked that most people never discover their potential until it is almost too late. I remember a patient who once told me with tears in his eyes, "I feel like my body is rusting away. Every step is heavier than the last." And yet within weeks of changing just one small habit in his morning routine, he began to move again with a lightness he thought was lost forever. His story is not unique. It is a reminder that decline is not destiny. So as we begin this journey together, hold on to this thought. The pain you feel, the stiffness in your knees, the restless nights that steal your energy, these are not final sentences, they are signals. Signals that your body is asking for something it has been missing. And once you learn how to answer, once you discover the natural keys I am about to share, you will see that relief is possible, strength can return, and the freedom to move with confidence can still be yours. Stay with me, because the path forward may surprise you. And it begins with a story of one simple choice that changed everything. Imagine waking one morning and realizing that getting out of bed feels heavier than it did yesterday. Your knees resist, your legs tremble slightly, and the distance to the kitchen feels longer than ever before. You may tell yourself it is just fatigue, just age, just a normal course of life. But hidden beneath these small signs is a force that scientists now call the silent thief of strength. This thief has a name, sarcopenia. It is a gradual loss of muscle mass and power that creeps in year by year, beginning as early as the 40s, but striking harder after the age of 60. Unlike sudden illness, it does not arrive with a warning. It steals ability step by step, often without you noticing, until simple tasks feel like burdens. Carrying groceries leaves you breathless. Bending to tie your shoes becomes a challenge. Climbing stairs stirs fear. The World Health Organization has warned that sarcopenia is one of the greatest threats to independence in aging population. Studies show that by the age of 70, many adults have already lost more than a quarter of their muscle mass. That is not just strength disappearing, it is balance, mobility, and even confidence fading away. Dr. Erwin Rosenberg, a respected voice in nutrition and aging, once called muscle the true organ of longevity. He explained that while we often worry about heart disease or diabetes, it is the slow erosion of muscle that often determines whether an older adult remains independent or becomes dependent. Without muscle, every other organ suffers. Blood sugar control worsens, bone density declines, and the risk of falls multiplies. Alongside sarcopenia, another force burns quietly in the background: inflammation. Scientists describe it as a low-grade fire inside the body, not strong enough to feel like an obvious fever, but powerful enough to damage cells day after day. Dr. Luigi Ferrucci, scientific director at the US National Institute on Aging, has studied this for decades. He calls it inflammaging, a combination of aging and chronic inflammation that accelerates weakness, frailty, and disease. This fire targets joints, stiffening the knees and hips, and it weakens muscles, slowing their repair. It even touches the brain, reducing clarity and mood. You may experience it as stiffness when you wake, swelling after a short walk, or a dull ache that never fully disappears. Left unchecked, it builds silently until strength feels permanently lost. Circulation also plays a role in this story. As arteries stiffen with age, blood flow becomes less efficient. Muscles and joints starve for oxygen and nutrients. Imagine trying to repair a house when the delivery truck brings only half the bricks. The repairs take longer, the structure grows weaker, and frustration builds. Together, sarcopenia, inflammation, and poor circulation form what many researchers now describe as the perfect storm of aging. Each one makes the others worse. Weakened muscles limit movement. Less movement increases inflammation. Inflammation damages blood vessels. Poor circulation further weakens muscles. A cycle that feels impossible to escape. And yet, here is the truth most people do not hear often enough. This cycle is not destiny. Muscles at 60 or 70 still have the power to grow stronger. Joints can regain flexibility. Circulation can improve. But to reverse the storm, the body needs support in 3 key ways. It needs fuel to rebuild muscle fibers, compounds to cool the hidden fire of inflammation, and nutrients that open the pathways of blood flow. Here is where nature enters the picture. Decades of research confirm that certain foods and natural compounds can directly influence these forces. Polyphenols found in plants can calm inflammation. Antioxidants protect against oxidative stress, the biological rust that accelerates decline. Minerals like magnesium and potassium help relax muscles and support circulation. And when these nutrients are consumed in the right form, they allow protein to work more effectively, turning food into strength rather than waste. Professor Stuart Phillips of McMaster University in Canada, one of the world leaders in muscle physiology, has shown that even older adults in their 70s and 80s can rebuild muscle when nutrition and activity align. His studies reveal that the body is never too old to respond. It only needs the right environment. The mystery is that these nutrients do not have to come from expensive supplements or complicated treatments. They can come from simple foods, prepared in ordinary kitchens, consumed in daily ritual. And this is where the story begins to shift from decline toward renewal. As you listen further, remember this: your body is not your enemy. It is not betraying you. It is whispering for help, asking for fuel, for relief, for balance. And the moment you answer those whispers with the right choices, even small ones, the decline slows, the storm weakens, and strength begins to return. Stay with me, because in the next part we will uncover how this renewal begins, not with heavy exercise or complicated routines, but with something as simple as what you sip each morning. Picture this. You sit at your table with a simple meal before you. Maybe it is a small bowl of fruit, a glass of milk, a handful of seeds, or even a warm cup of tea. To most people, these are just ordinary foods, comfort for the stomach and little else. Yet hidden inside these humble ingredients are compounds so powerful that entire fields of science have been built around studying them. When researchers at Harvard looked into the habits of older adults who lived longer and stronger, they found a common thread. It was not luxury diets or rare supplements. It was consistency with simple foods that nature has given us for centuries. What was remarkable was not the price or the complexity of these foods, but their ability to influence the very processes that aging tries to weaken. Take polyphenols, for example. These are plant compounds found in fruits, vegetables, and even teas. Polyphenols act like shields, neutralizing the oxidative stress that slowly corrodes cells. Dr. Joseph Vita, a cardiologist from Boston University, described oxidative stress as rust on the inside of the body. Left unchecked, this rust damages muscles, stiffens joints, and blocks circulation. Yet a steady intake of polyphenols can scrub away the rust and restore vitality. Antioxidants are another hidden ally. You have heard the word many times, yet few realize their deep impact on muscle and joint health. Antioxidants do not simply fight aging on the surface. They enter cells and protect mitochondria, the powerhouses that give energy to every movement. When mitochondria are protected, energy feels stable, muscles recover faster, and even balance becomes steadier. Minerals too, often overlooked, play a central role. Magnesium, abundant in nuts and seeds, relaxes muscles and calms the nervous system. Potassium, found in bananas and prunes, keeps electrical signals in the body steady, helping muscles contract smoothly and preventing dangerous cramps. Calcium and vitamin K strengthen the connection between bones and muscles, ensuring that movement is both strong and safe. Dr. Walter Willett of Harvard, one of the most cited nutrition researchers in the world, has shown again and again that diets rich in these basic nutrients extend not just lifespan but health span, the years in which we live with independence and freedom. His message is simple: health is built not by grand acts but by small daily choices. Now imagine bringing these nutrients together in one daily ritual. Instead of swallowing handfuls of pills or searching for miracle cures, you begin each morning with a natural recipe that combines polyphenols, antioxidants, and minerals into a form your body can easily use. This is where food transforms into medicine, not in a metaphorical sense, but in a biological. Think of inflammation like a small fire in your joints. Each time you drink or eat certain compounds, it is as if you pour cool water over that fire. Day after day, the flames quiet down, swelling eases, stiffness softens, and the body begins to remember what freedom feels like. Circulation improves, carrying oxygen and nutrients with greater ease. Muscles, once starved, start to rebuild. Even your energy in the morning feels different, as if the heaviness that weighed you down has begun to lift. Stories from around the world echo this truth. In Japan, where green tea is a daily habit, elders often walk with vitality well into their 80s and 90s. In the Mediterranean, where diets are filled with olive oil, seeds, and fresh vegetables, joint pain is less common and mobility lasts longer. And in communities that use traditional remedies like turmeric or garlic, science now confirms what tradition always knew, that nature provides quiet guardians against decline. The mistake many make is believing that because these foods are simple, their power must be small. But the opposite is true. It is precisely their simplicity that makes them sustainable. Anyone can afford them, anyone can prepare them, and anyone can turn them into a ritual. And it is rituals, not occasional bursts of effort, that shape the destiny of our health. So as you listen now, ask yourself, what if the answer has been waiting not in a pharmacy, but in your kitchen all along? What if relief from stiffness and pain was not locked in a bottle, but in a handful of prunes, a spoon of oats, or a glass of warm tea? What if strength after 60 could be rebuilt not by chasing something far away, but by rediscovering the ordinary? Stay with me, because in the next part I will reveal exactly how these humble allies work together inside your body, not as isolated nutrients, but as a symphony restoring balance, resilience, and strength. Imagine for a moment that your body is an orchestra. Every instrument has its role. The muscles are the drums, steady and powerful. The joints are the strings, flexible and delicate. The blood vessels are the brass, carrying sound with force. The nerves are the woodwinds, directing the rhythm with precision. When they play together in harmony, the music is strong and beautiful, but when one instrument falls out of tune, the melody weakens, and the silence between the notes becomes louder than the music itself. This is what happens as the years advance. Muscles lose rhythm, joints grow stiff, circulation slows, and nerves send weaker signals. The orchestra of your body begins to falter. But here is where the secret lies. Certain foods carry compounds that act like skilled conductors, bringing the instruments back into tune. Alone, each compound is powerful. Together, they create a symphony that restores balance and strength. Let us take prunes as an example. They are rich in vitamin K, magnesium, and polyphenols. Vitamin K directs calcium into the bones, preventing it from depositing in the arteries where it can cause stiffness. Magnesium relaxes muscles and eases the tension that pulls on the joints. Polyphenols reduce inflammation, calming the hidden fire that erodes tissue over time. On their own, these effects are valuable, but when paired with oats, something greater happens. Oats contribute beta-glucan, a soluble fiber that stabilizes blood sugar and nourishes beneficial gut bacteria. Why does this matter for muscle and joint health? Because a stable blood sugar prevents spikes of inflammation, and a healthy gut produces short-chain fatty acids that further cool inflammation and improve nutrient absorption. Suddenly, the polyphenols in prunes become more effective because the body is calmer, the fire is smaller, and the pathways are open. Now add coconut milk to this mix. Coconut milk provides medium-chain triglycerides, special fats that are absorbed quickly and used as energy rather than stored as fat. These fats fuel muscle cells, protect nerves, and reduce pressure on the joints by easing inflammation. They also carry fat-soluble vitamins from other foods, like vitamin K in prunes, directly into the bloodstream. The result is synergy, where one ingredient unlocks the potential of another. Dr. Dariush Mozaffarian of Tufts University, a leading researcher on nutrition and public health, has written that the power of diet is not in isolated nutrients, but in patterns, in the way foods interact inside the body. He explains that when nutrients are consumed together in natural forms, they create effects that no supplement can fully replicate. It is like listening to one violin versus hearing the entire orchestra. The music of life is richer when all the parts come together. Even spices play a role in this symphony. Cinnamon, for example, is not only a flavor, it improves circulation, regulates blood sugar, and enhances the activity of antioxidants in other foods. When added to prunes, oats, and coconut milk, it amplifies their effects, much like a conductor raising the tempo and guiding the instruments to play in harmony. Science confirms this. Studies from the Journal of Nutrition have shown that dietary patterns rich in antioxidants, fibers, and healthy fats reduce markers of inflammation and improve mobility in older adults. What is striking is that these improvements do not take years to appear. In many cases, changes are measurable within weeks. Think about that. Weeks, not decades. That means your body is listening closely to every choice you make. Each sip of a nutrient-rich drink, each bite of a simple food is like adding a note back into the symphony. Slowly, the music of strength and vitality begins to return. For older adults who feared the decline of independence, this truth is a revelation. You are not powerless. You are not at the mercy of age. Your body still responds, still adapts, still heals when given the right signals. The orchestra can play again if you choose the right conductors. So the question is not whether the body can recover. It is whether you are willing to create the conditions for recovery. Whether you are willing to see food not just as fuel, but as music, as medicine, as the quiet hand that guides your strength back into rhythm. Stay with me, because in the next part, I will share stories and evidence of how ordinary people, just like you, discovered this truth, and how their lives changed when they chose to listen to the hidden symphony inside their own body. Let me take you beyond the science for a moment. Numbers and studies are important, but what really moves the heart are stories. Stories of people who were once trapped in pain and limitation, yet found their way back to freedom through the simplest of daily choices. These are not distant figures in medical journals. They are mothers, fathers, grandparents, neighbors, people just like you. Consider the story of Maria, a 71-year-old retired teacher from Portugal. For years, she lived with aching knees and swelling that made it almost impossible to walk the cobblestone streets of her village. She had tried medications, physical therapy, even injections, but the relief was always temporary. One day, her daughter, who had read about the anti-inflammatory effects of prunes and oats, encouraged her to try a morning drink made with these simple ingredients blended in coconut milk. Maria was skeptical, yet within 3 weeks she noticed something remarkable. She could stand up from her chair without gripping the armrest. By the second month, she was climbing stairs again, slowly but confidently. She later described the change not as a miracle but as a steady return of trust in her own body. Or take the example of Kenji, a 68-year-old gardener from Japan. His problem was not only pain but deep fatigue that drained him of joy. He had spent years tending his small garden, yet the stiffness in his joints made even simple tasks exhausting. At a health workshop in Kyoto, he learned about the synergy of oats for energy, prunes for circulation, and coconut milk for lubrication. He decided to incorporate them into a daily smoothie, adding a pinch of cinnamon for warmth. 6 weeks later, he told his friends that he felt 10 years younger. His mornings began with a lightness he had not known for decades. What touched him most was not only the absence of pain, but the return of pleasure in walking barefoot through his garden, feeling the earth beneath his feet. Stories like these are echoed by research. A study conducted at the University of California found that older adults who consumed diets rich in polyphenols and soluble fibers showed measurable improvements in mobility and reduction in joint stiffness within 12 weeks. Lead researcher Dr. David Heber explained that the combination of antioxidants and fibers creates an environment where inflammation is reduced and nutrient absorption is maximized, a foundation for sustained mobility. Then there is Eleanor from Canada, who at 75 had nearly resigned herself to life in a wheelchair. Her joints were so stiff that even crossing the living room felt like climbing a mountain. But after her granddaughter introduced her to a simple routine involving prunes, oats, and coconut milk, Eleanor began to drink the smoothie every morning. She combined it with gentle stretching and short walks. Over time, the chair became less a necessity and more a backup. At 80, she now calls her smoothie her morning prayer, a ritual that reminds her that strength is still possible. These stories may sound unusual, but they are not isolated. Around the world, communities that embrace natural, nutrient-rich diets show lower rates of disability in old age. In the Mediterranean, where fruits, whole grains, and olive oil form the foundation of meals, elders often walk daily well into their 80s and 90s. In Okinawa, Japan, where plant-based foods dominate the table, mobility and independence remain high among seniors. Nutrition scientists like Dr. Walter Willett of Harvard have long emphasized that dietary patterns, not isolated superfoods, are what sustain vitality over decades. What these stories reveal is a simple but profound truth. Aging is not the end of movement. It is a change in rhythm. And when you choose foods that quiet inflammation, restore circulation, and fuel muscles, that rhythm can be lifted again. Pain eases, stiffness loosens, and the world becomes larger once more. So when you hear of a smoothie made with prunes, oats, and coconut milk, do not dismiss it as just another home remedy. See it instead as an invitation to join a larger story, a chorus of voices from different countries and different lives, all pointing to the same message: the body still responds, no matter your age. Stay with me, because in the next part, we will explore exactly how to prepare this drink step by step, and why the details of timing and method matter just as much as the ingredients themselves. It is not simply what you eat, but how you weave it into your daily rhythm that determines whether it becomes a passing trial or a lasting transformation. Now that you understand the science and have heard the stories, it is time to step into the kitchen. Because all the knowledge in the world means little unless it is translated into daily action. And here, action begins with something as humble as a blender, a few simple ingredients, and the willingness to try. The first ingredient is prunes, 6 of them pitted and ready. These are the heart of the recipe, delivering antioxidants, vitamin K, potassium, and natural sweetness. If your prunes feel too firm or dry, do not worry. Place them in half a cup of warm water for about 15 minutes. As they soften, that water becomes infused with their nutrients. Remember this step, because the soaking water is just as valuable as the fruit itself. Next come the oats, 2 tablespoons of rolled oats. You may choose fine oats for a smoother texture, or coarser ones if you prefer a bit of body in your drink. Either way, oats bring soluble fibers that calm inflammation and stabilize blood sugar, making the smoothie not only soothing, but also sustaining. Now add the base, 1 cup of coconut milk. If you have the chance to prepare it fresh at home, you will notice the creaminess and richness. But even boxed coconut milk works well. This ingredient is the oil for the engine, delivering healthy fats that help your body absorb fat-soluble vitamins from the prunes and carry them to your muscles and bones. Optionally, you may add half a ripe banana. This is not essential, but it brings natural sweetness, extra potassium, and a velvety texture. For many people, especially those not used to smoothies, the banana makes the drink feel more indulgent, almost like a dessert that happens to heal. The final touch is a pinch of cinnamon powder. This is more than flavor. Cinnamon improves circulation, stimulates digestion, and enhances the effectiveness of antioxidants in the other ingredients. It is like adding a gentle conductor to the orchestra, guiding the other notes to play in harmony. Now for the preparation. Place the softened prunes, the oats, the coconut milk, the banana if you choose, and the cinnamon into the blender. Do not forget to pour in the soaking water from the prunes. That liquid carries fibers, minerals, and antioxidants that you do not want to waste. Blend for 2 full minutes, long enough for everything to transform into a smooth, creamy drink. If the texture feels too thick, simply add a splash of extra water or coconut milk until it suits your taste. When you pour the smoothie into a glass, notice its deep color and rich aroma. This is more than food. It is a message to your body that you are choosing strength over decline. Some people like to drink it chilled with a few ice cubes on hot days. Others prefer it warm as a comforting start to the morning. The method is flexible, but the key is consistency. Timing matters. The best moment to drink this smoothie is in the morning before breakfast, when the body is most ready to absorb nutrients without interference. I began to feel changes after just 3 mornings, a lightness in my joints, a softening of stiffness. By the end of the first week, the improvement was undeniable. The key was not perfection, but repetition. Every morning became a step in the right direction. You might be wondering, what if I forget a day? The truth is, one missed day will not erase your progress. What matters is the rhythm you create over weeks and months. Some choose to drink it 6 days a week and rest on Sundays. Others drink it daily without breaks. The important thing is to make it part of your life, not just an experiment. There are variations too, to keep the habit alive without boredom. Replace the banana with an apple for a fresher, lighter taste. Add a teaspoon of turmeric and a pinch of black pepper for a golden anti-inflammatory boost. Mix in chia seeds for extra fiber and omega-3, or replace half the coconut milk with plain yogurt for probiotics and creaminess. Each variation keeps the ritual alive while building on the same foundation of healing. This smoothie is not a miracle, it is a habit. And habits, repeated day after day, are what shape the course of our health. Each sip is a small decision, but small decisions multiplied over time become strength, freedom, and dignity. So tomorrow morning, when you step into your kitchen, remember this recipe. 6 prunes, 2 spoons of oats, 1 cup of coconut milk, a touch of cinnamon, and the faith to begin. Blend, sip, and trust the process. Because sometimes the most powerful medicine does not come in a pill bottle, but in a simple glass you hold in your own hand. There comes a moment when you realize that health is not just about the body, it is about the life that body allows you to live. Pain in the knees is not only pain, it is missed moments with family. It is the hesitation to walk across a park. It is the fear of falling when no one is around. Over time, it is the quiet shrinking of your world. But the truth is that decline does not have to be your destiny. You have now seen how something as ordinary as prunes, oats, and coconut milk can carry extraordinary power. You have heard the science, the testimonies, and the rituals that turn ingredients into medicine. And most importantly, you have seen that strength can return when you give your body what it has been missing. Think of the body like a garden. When the soil is neglected, weeds take over, flowers wither, and fruit stops growing. But when you water, when you nourish, when you protect, the garden revives. Muscles grow steadier, joints become more flexible, and energy begins to bloom again. It is not instant, it is gradual. Yet with patience, the change is undeniable. Many people at 60, 70, even 80 years old believe it is too late. They whisper to themselves that nothing will help, that pain is their companion until the end. But history tells us otherwise. Dr. Walter Willett of Harvard University has shown through decades of research that nutrition can transform health even in later life. Dr. David Felsen of Boston University has studied how diet influences joint pain and proven that anti-inflammatory foods reduce symptoms significantly. These are not empty promises. They are facts grounded in science. And then there are the stories of everyday people, perhaps just like you. Men and women who once felt trapped by their own bodies but discovered freedom again through small, consistent choices. A glass of smoothie in the morning, a walk in the afternoon, a little less fear each night. These are not miracles. They are results of respect for the body, respect for life, and the courage to begin. So let me ask you directly, are you willing to give yourself this chance? Not tomorrow, not next month, but now. Because every day you wait is another day surrendered to pain. Every day you act is a day reclaimed. The choice is not dramatic. It is as simple as 6 prunes, 2 spoons of oats, 1 cup of coconut milk, and a pinch of cinnamon. The real power lies not in the ingredients themselves, but in the decision to care for yourself consistently. I want you to imagine the morning 3 weeks from now. You swing your legs out of bed, you rise more smoothly than before, you walk to the kitchen without holding the chair for balance. You notice that the pain that once shouted in your knees now whispers faintly, or perhaps has grown silent. That moment will come. And when it does, you will remember this day, the day you decided not to give up. This is not about living forever. It is about living fully. It is about climbing stairs without fear, playing with grandchildren without hesitation, walking outside without doubt. It is about dignity, independence, and joy. And all of it is closer than you think. So here is the invitation. Begin tomorrow morning. Prepare the smoothie, sip it slowly, and remind yourself that you are building not only stronger joints, but also a stronger spirit. Write in the comments below, I choose strength. Share your commitment with others and let them support you as you walk this journey, because no one heals alone. And as you take that sip, know this, you are not powerless. You are not too late. You are still capable of change, of growth, of renewal. Your body is waiting for you to give it what it needs. And when you do, it will reward you with freedom, resilience, and peace. This is your story now. The story of moving from pain to possibility, from decline to dignity, from fear to freedom. And it begins with a single choice, repeated every morning, 1 sip at a time.